What's up, everybody? Dakota Drake 4 coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. I know you've all been waiting for this one. We've kind of been blasting on it all day. Little technical difficulties. We're running behind schedule, but what else is new? This little surprise episode, we got our boy Tyler Reddick in the house. Red Dog, they like to call him. He's a favorite of ours here at Chairgatin, and we can't wait to talk to him. Let's get this thing started, y'all. It's going to be good. Oh, shit. Damn. Oh, shit.
What's up? It's Chairgatin coming at you live.
Hello, come right in. Rock flag and eagle.
I hoped you liked that, dude. I was sitting there clicking the button, and my fat freaking finger was hitting the right click, and I was like, "Come on, no!"
That was awesome. That was
Yeah,
incredible.
that's us, man. We go to races. We like to have fun. But, dude, what's up? Tyler Reddick in the house. This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I clearly didn't do great studying. I saw the beer crack open.
Oh, dude,
And
by all means, if you need
okay,
one,
well,
go. We got you.
all right, I'll go grab
I'll
a beer.
pack
All
for
right,
it. Tyler Reddick. He's got to go to his garage fridge. This is pretty cool, pretty awesome for me. Thanks, y'all, for joining the comments. I'm going to try to keep up. But Tyler Reddick's in the house, cracking one with the boys. This is awesome, man. I can't wait to have it. We had some technical difficulties getting on time, but if y'all watch the show, you should be used to that because we're never on time. But
I'm
man,
not either. I'm not either.
It's all good, dude.
I treat real life like away from the track life, like on the racetrack, like every last second I try and take advantage of it. But yeah.
Hey, what you drinking?
Oh, IPA.
Hey, dude, so am I.
Where is it? Oh, here's
Monday Night Brewing out of Atlanta.
Where do I go here? Burial.
There you go.
Surfer's Wax IPA. So,
okay, look.
Cheers.
Cheers,
yeah.
bro. Cheers. Yeah.
I'm sure I just broke the first rule. I'm sure I just broke a rule right there, but that's fine.
Well, do not let me be the downfall of you. That is your own business.
Yeah, no, I'm the downfall of myself. No,
we don't get you in trouble.
I can talk my way out of it, I'm sure.
Hey, there you go, Mr. Smooth. But, dude, Tyler Reddick, driver of the 8-car RCR ZL1 Camaro. Is that what they're calling it these days? Next gen, Gen 7, whatever you want to call it. Dude, it's so glad to have you on the show. I'm sorry my partner in crime's not here, but I'm going to try to handle it. But, dude, man, just came back from Atlanta. The 3Chi 8 looks so good, dude. I like literally when you dropped this scheme in Daytona, I was like, dude, that's a sexy car. Bringing the chrome numbers back or shiny numbers, however you want to talk about the finish. The 8 car looks good. You want to tell us? I mean, how did 3Chi come about? Did y'all find them? They find y'all? You want to talk about the company?
Yeah, it was honestly great timing. Folks from 3Chi happened to come to their first ever race at the Indianapolis Road Course. And got to meet the people that are part of their company, totally new to racing, and the experience they got. It's from my understanding now, the experience they got going to their first ever race at Indy had them sold. They were all about it, and it was just became a process of working with NASCAR to find the right fit and find how do we get 3Chi into NASCAR? How do we get them with RCR, and how do we get them on Tyler's car? So a little bit of a process to make that all happen. It's a new avenue of partnership on the race car side in NASCAR. So, there were some new things that everyone on all fronts had to learn. NASCAR has some things they need to figure out. Us at RCR, working with them, and then 3Chi, we all just work together to make it all come together and happen. So I was really glad to see it see them come on in the big way that they did. Our anchor sponsor, if you will, having lots of primary races. And, unfortunately we've had some really good speed with 3Chi on our car, but it hasn't worked out the first 2 go rounds at Daytona or at Atlanta. But Dakota's coming up here on Sunday. We head out tomorrow morning, actually. And we got 3Chi on the car, and Dakota's a good place for me. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, dude. So I assume this was kind of like a teeter totter. You're like, hey, all right, 3Chi, the first ever hemp based product sponsored in a professional sport. I'm pretty sure. It's pretty much a big deal. I mean, I'm sure that y'all had to maybe, work things over and like, hey, look, 3Chi's coming in. This is what we want to do, and they came in a big way. That 8 car really looked good at Daytona. It really looked good at Atlanta last week. I know we ran into some difficulties. We can get there, but yeah, going to Dakota this weekend though. Pole sitter last year. Do you have confidence going into Dakota this weekend?
Lots of it. Won't be lacking that when we go to Dakota. For me, the first part, or when I looked at the beginning of this year, I had a lot of tracks I was really excited about. Fontana was up there on the list of ones I was excited about.
Oh yeah,
Vegas,
big lap leader before you got
right.
messed
I know
with it.
another issue we had. Yeah, but above all those, I had Coda circled because of the speed that we had there when we were here last year for the first time. The work that me and my team put in to really kind of transform my, I guess, capabilities and where our potentials were on a road course. So it was, for me, that race last year and how it went, the speed we had was really huge because it was a big payday for us for the hard work that we put in to get better at road course racing. When I say we, I mean my team had to really rally around me and help me learn the techniques and this is what you should do. What you have it's just like anything. There's certain things that you can and can't do at all these different types of racetracks, and I was pretty much doing all the wrong things at road courses. So I only had to go up from where I was. So it was nice to make the gains we did.
Yeah, I remember last year when you got that pole, you were kind of like, holy shit, we got the pole. Like it almost seemed like you were baffled. Do you think with the next gen and RCR's development, y'all kind of had the forefront lead of building this car, that, are we going to see a different product with this road course racing? I know different brake packages. These cars were kind of made for this, they implied. Is RCR going to take the forefront with the road course racing, or is this going to be a shit show on Sunday?
I think it's got the possibility of being it. I don't think it's going to be as big of a one as what we saw a year ago because of the weather that we experienced. That was almost
a nightmare.
Yeah, that was insanity. But the weather forecast looks a lot clearer. But certainly RCR played a huge role in development of the car. But a lot of the direction the car's taken, I'd say in the last 2 or 3 months, we're in areas that we didn't really have a lot, where how we're learning about this car now and where we're able to find speed out of it, make the car drive better, go faster, that simple sounding, but very complex stuff that the engineers and the teams, everyone at the shop goes through to find, through the testing that NASCAR did with this next gen car. Some of the things that we're picking up now, the other good teams are picking up on now, didn't really have the opportunity to really explore those in all the next gen testing that happened over the last couple of years.
That's one thing we talk about on the show is like through these first probably 6 to 10 races is everybody's kind of getting a feel of the cars. So you kind of seeing all these different winners show up. We're trying to get you one. You keep leading, but stuff keeps happening. Yeah. But it's like the second half of the season and as summer comes along, I feel like later in the year, we're going to see almost like a shift. Like we're going to see like more teams get more advantages or figure more things out on how to go fast. And it's like, yeah, I am loving everything I'm seeing so far, but I feel like there's even more to gain on what the product we're seeing on the track. I know. The test, I think the test was a little crazy too with the flat tires spinning at the Roval and stuff when y'all were testing.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of problems spinning at the Roval test, but the next gen test they were both next gen tests. The test we had after that, the follow up test on the Charlotte Oval.
Oh, it was the Oval when you spun.
Was where I had a lot of spins. The car you just can't get away with what you used to in the old car. The old car had a lot more side force built into the body, a lot more forgiveness in the tire itself too, with the size of the sidewall. So the spins that you saw at Fontana, a little bit at Vegas, at the beginning of this year, there'll be more of that, I'd say, to start this year than what it'll be in the summer.
Right.
But certainly I do expect, the best of the best teams, you're already seeing Hendrick win with 3 or 4 drivers. The Gibbs cars the Gibbs drivers and teams starting to figure it out. The best of the best will eventually get back to being at the top. But certainly this new car is really just hit a reset button for everybody. And if you got a good feeling about something or have a good approach to race weekend, you can see some of the other teams get up front and do what they've been doing here to start the year.
Yeah. Now, I feel like all the broadcasts and everything, when they interview, they just generically put you right in the Tyler Reddick, the highline guy. He rails the top. He's inches from the wall. And I think that's what a lot of us fans love about you is you're not scared to go up there. You're going to rail it, and it's fun to watch because when it produces speed, it's so freaking awesome. But being Tyler Reddick, are you a fan of these cars breaking on edge at any moment and being hard to drive, or do you prefer that I don't even have to worry about this car? It's not going to spin out.
I definitely like the car being a lot harder to drive. It does take away from some of the, it does make running the wall a bit more difficult. But, at a lot of these tracks we get to, the cars were so stuck to the ground that, it was almost more of a chess match than you battling the car you're driving itself. And like I said, I think a lot of the teams have been learning here to start this year on how to make these cars drive a little bit better, not be as snappy loose or on the edge of control. But it is still so new that, you miss the mark every now and again. And this car is a little bit trickier, a little bit more sensitive. You have a smaller margin of error to miss the setup and still have a good car or not. So That's been exciting to see it play out that way. And for the most part, for us, we've done a pretty good job of showing up to the track with good cars. I think the worst car we brought to the track was Vegas, and honestly, it wasn't really a bad car. We still qualified 7th with it. And still had good speed, but it was one of the few times this year we didn't really feel like we had a straight up chance of going out there and taking the lead and leading laps and trying to win.
But hey, got a little loose off 4, spun through the grass, but the splitter didn't rip off. The splitter didn't dig into the yard. No one's talking about that. Watching broadcasts, they haven't even brought it up. But last year we were all complaining about how when if a guy gets loose and goes to the infield, tears the whole front end off. But these cars take a beating, dude. They hit the wall, slap it. Ross Chastain battles back. Corey LaJoie does a 360 in the infield, comes back. It's like, I'm really loving these composite bodies taking a lick and still ticking. You kind of dove head first at Atlanta. I think that was kind of a bad spot, but maybe that one wasn't fixable. But it's kind of nice seeing these cars be able to, hit the wall and keep going.
Yeah, they are a lot different than the older car. And one thing too, the car that we've raced forever, and even in the Xfinity series, what you see, right down there below us, that was a car that had kind of turned into a race car, but it started from a street car. And with this next gen car from the first input when they were designing this thing, it's all race car. There's no street ability in place. So just the structural integrity of the car is better. They're able to do a lot more things with the front of the car, the rear of the car, foam in certain places, the composite body. There was a lot of things that they were able to bring to the table with this car to make it a bit beefier in a lot of ways. You still see, situations happen where, with independent suspension, you slap the wall hard enough, you can bend some stuff. But certainly I didn't expect to be able to take back off after I had the crash that I did at Atlanta, hitting the wall head on. But we were able to keep rolling for a while till something else eventually broke. So
dude, it looks
these cars have been it's been experience so far. It's been eye-opening how much they can take at times.
When you were coming through 3 and 4, was there any indication oh crap, right rear's going down, or was it just oh shit? We noticed we saw all those tire issues. Have you heard anything? With your sources, why everybody that was leading, chilling out, was it tire pressures? Everybody running something, or was just a fluke incident?
I figured out once I got to the front myself, at the front of the field, it's not chilling. You're getting the pushes down the straightaway, and you're getting shoved off into the corner faster than anybody in the field. Now, because you don't have the draft, you're not going as fast, coming off the corner or the first part of the straightaway as some of the other cars probably are. But, the car was getting put, the tires in the car were getting put through a lot more stress at the front of the field. And in my case, don't exactly have it pinpointed as to why we had the tire failure. But you can take that if you want.
No, dude. Sorry. I thought I put it on silent. Sorry, dude.
I'm kidding. No, I was just messing with you.
No, Nobody's called me all day until right now.
That's me calling you.
That's how it goes.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think I can't speak for, Ross or Ricky, but I think it's possible that we just may have missed the mark, had the setup of our car a little bit too aggressive on the right rear tire. And when we got to the front there, leading the draft for a little bit, we were just putting the tire through more stress than I think we thought we were going to. And it was just too much for it.
So do you think maybe when we go back to Atlanta in July there's going to be probably notes like, hey, let's not let that happen again. Like,
yeah, totally. No, we're already working. Yeah. That note I think has already been put in post
big asterisks highlighted,
yeah.
underlined.
Let's not do this again. Certainly. Yeah. I mean, we go back there in a, not right away, but we're going to be heading back there pretty soon. So, we've been trying to figure out what exactly we think that we were a little bit off on that could have caused that. So we're thinking about it, but we got some time till we go back.
Yeah. I think Atlanta's missing a huge opportunity not making the second day to night race. It's the middle of July in the South. Like, you got 2 dates. Why not? You got lights. Like, I know there's more that goes to it, but it's like, dude, how cool would this be to do a day and night race in the summer? Huge opportunity missed, I think, as a fan, and it would be cool to see y'all drafting like that. I was going to ask you too, you personally, inside source driver, how did you feel about New Atlanta? The repave, it's the super speedway, motor speedway. It's not old school slick and grinding and, different lines. It was like Talladega, Atlanta motor speedway.
Yeah. It was very different. I didn't know how it was going to play out. I didn't know how the racing was going to end up being. I kind of knew going in what they were hoping it was going to be, like speedway style racing. We got rolling in practice, and we were running the speeds that we were, getting in the big packs that we were. I knew that Sunday was going to be pretty crazy. But I guess what I'm trying to get at is I was more than impressed by how well the idea and how well everything kind of went. It was me and my spotter, Derek Nealon, were talking about it afterwards, like just how much more he was having to work at Atlanta as a spotter than you would at like a Daytona or Talladega. Right. Just never really getting a minute or a second to catch your breath, just always constantly on the radio because, you're racing as tight as you would be on those bigger tracks, but it's a small track. Things happen quicker. There's less room. The track's narrow, so you can get 2x2 and, 3 wide sketchy because of the speeds and how small the track is. I know it sounds crazy. It's 1.5 miles, but it's a mile shorter than Talladega or Daytona. Right. And it definitely feels like it. It almost felt like a bull ring, even though, like I said, we were super speedway racing at like 190. It was a fun experience.
That's one thing we said was it's like it was, super speedway racing, but in a miniature version, to where the turns are sharper. Maybe you're not getting, guys are trying to push like they would, but how many times do we see guys push and the car in front of them get loose? And also, I was totally blown away by how many with the brand new smooth asphalt, how many times we saw guys getting loose, like all on their own. Maybe it was aero or whatever, but it's like guys just losing it on new asphalt. I'd imagine there've been tons of grip. I loved what I saw as a fan being there. I've gone to Atlanta for 20 years. I respect and loved old surface and old school Atlanta, but it was a fresh something new. It was something like, wow, I've never seen anything like this. I love super speedway racing as well. I like it as its own thing. I love going to Talladega and Daytona, but I don't want to see this every week. But it was neat. It was something different. Atlanta's its own beast now, it seems.
Yeah, I've always felt like Atlanta was its own beast to begin with, but certainly it's the monster just evolved. It had changed to something else.
Right.
With I guess that part I'm taking for granted a little bit, like this was the first time we'd ever raced on this racetrack. Countless times that the tracks have been repaved. It's the narrowest line right around the bottom. You get out of the groove and you're going for a really hard ride. Your day's over. But from lap one in our race, we could pretty much run over every inch of this racetrack. Be able to do that on a brand new repaved surface is really important, regardless of, what kind of racing we're needing to have or wanting to have to put on. So Yeah, it was. I think when we go back, people are going to be more aggressive. I think we'll be 3 wide more often. You're not going to want to be 3 wide for long, but I think people will be putting each other in those positions more. But yeah, the track had a lot of grip. Craziest thing enough is even though it had 28 degrees of banking, more banking than before, we were speedway racing, the feel of the racetrack still felt very much like Atlanta, just how you get sucked into turn 1, some of the bumps that are still there under the surface.
Really?
And the waviness of 3, all of it's still there. It still really felt a lot like Atlanta. And I think that's the part that threw me off the most is I'm used to just feeling completely out of control going around Atlanta, trying to find grip. But obviously we had a lot of it because we were able to race pretty close together.
Which I'm curious, I don't really know what asphalt they used for this. I'm not an asphalt expert, but they repaved Charlotte, and Charlotte seems to not have aged since day one from the stands. But I was curious, like, where do we see this track in 10 years? What's this surface look like? If this track ages, what's this going to look like racing wise? Or 20 years from now, I don't know. Is it going to be a hot, slick Atlanta drafting package? Are we even going to have these cars? Not sure, but it's neat to talk about. It's different. I like super speedway racing. I remember a 2019 Xfinity race where you slammed the wall, tore it up, and came back and won it. So,
Yeah.
You're a little super speedway racer yourself. We know.
Yeah, I love it. But certainly it's its own animal.
Yeah.
And going to Atlanta, I had this thought earlier, but it kind of got away from me. But I kind of felt like going into Atlanta, it was going to feel like, granted, it's brand new surface, right? The fall off wasn't quite there, but I feel like it was going to be kind of vintage plate racing a little bit.
Right.
And I don't know if it really actually looked that way or turned out that way, but just in how handling mattered more than it does at Talladega or Daytona. And you can't really push like you can at those two places. The way people get runs and do the slingshot, dive to the bottom and take the lead.
Yeah.
To me, in ways, it felt a little bit more old school than the type of plate racing that very chaotic, pushing each other all the way around the racetrack, just hitting each other as hard as we can type speedway racing that we have been putting on the last couple of years.
I'm a fan of it, man. I remember like last year's package, it seemed like y'all got them crazy runs and just freaking started going, and there was no stopping them. But this car, it seems like you kind of got to work a little more for it. So it seems a little more old school super speedway racing. I know Atlanta was its own beast, but like even being at Daytona, it felt like an old schooler or super speedway package racing. I was a fan of the last year's package too, though, because them runs were crazy and y'all were doing insane moves. But man, we were speaking of races. I was gonna bring up, like, we were already 5-6 races in the year. This is the 6th one this weekend's Dakota. We got our first road course coming up, but obviously I'm just gonna speak for you. Maybe that you're excited about Homestead. Everybody's gonna say you're excited about Homestead. But what tracks particularly are you looking forward to going down the line? Ones you got marked on your calendar?
Honestly, this one coming up, Coda. That's
what I like to hear.
Probably. More. Yeah, I'd say from between now and the next road course race that we're going to have, I think will be Road America. This is, the road courses are the race that I have scheduled circled that I'm really excited about. It's just because of the progress we made, in the off season 2 years ago and seeing how much improvement there was last year and doing that same work again in the off season. And here we are, we're getting ready to, have our first road course of the year. So for me, I'm really excited about it because it's been a very fun learning process for me, a big growing process. And I've been able to pick up on just so many things that I never even would have thought of before on road courses. So, I could be wrong. We could go there and just be a, 5th to 10th place car. But I really am excited about what we've been doing. And I think I do believe that we've done a lot of the right things going into this race. I'm just really excited to see how practice goes, where we stack up in the field.
All right. Well, when you win Sunday, I'm going to remember this conversation and how much confidence you had and be like, it's because you were on the show is why you won Sunday. We'll remember that on Chairgatin. But everybody in the comments wanting to know, I'm sure you've been bombarded by the leg issue questions. We had a comment about our buddy Cody was the seat issue specifically identified, being 5'5" himself. He understands comfort is difficult to obtain. I'm sure you're probably sick of hearing about it, but Everybody wants to know, is the leg issue resolved? Was it a fluke thing? Was it just the new seat? What was going on there?
Yeah, thankfully it is resolved. But with this new car, you know, the sight line of the car itself is different. You know, the older cars, you know, the door tops were lower in relation to the floorboard in these cars, and then these newer cars, you know, the sight line's just higher. You know, the inside of this car is deeper. The cockpit is deeper in this car, or taller, however you want to call it. And so because of that, you know, I moved around a little bit inside the car, and then, you know, we went and had a test, and I think this, and actually in October, right after the Roval, we had that big Roval test the day after, and, you know, just had some comfort issues inside the car. So we moved some things around with the pedals, picking them up, bringing them closer to me. And, you know, didn't really get a lot of opportunities after that test to really put myself through the motions till we got running in the heat of the season, or with the kickoff of the season. And found out pretty quick at Fontana and then Vegas that, you know, I didn't have things where I needed them to be. But thankfully, you know, because you have a lot of options to move things around in these new cars on the driver's side, inside the cockpit, so that we're able to move the pedals to where my legs aren't going to sleep anymore. So not fun, not good, very distracting.
Were you ever drive? Yeah, I mean, imagine it was like you were like,
them.
what the hell?
Yeah, if you're not feeling them for 5 hours straight, is not fun.
Oh, dude, that sounds annoying. You got the car, you're like, somebody come get me.
I can't. No, I looked like I'd never walked a day in my life whenever I got out of the car.
You look like you're after leg day. It was the day after leg day.
Way worse than that.
Squid legs.
Way worse.
We know you. I mean, you've been working out, man. You've been killing it. What are we squatting these days?
Oh, well, because of my leg issues that I had for, I don't know, it's been 3 weeks now, but all that anyone really wanted me to do was nothing while that was going on. Just let the body kind of rest. Don't put your nerves through any more stress than you already have. You put them through a lot the last 2 weeks. So kind of went on like a 3-week hiatus, really doing a lot of strenuous exercising. And here last week, I feel like when we went to Atlanta, the race was a lot more physical than I was expecting. You know, we're running high speeds around 1.5 miles.
Them laps were clicking off, dude. Y'all flying.
Yeah, we were, you know, the steering in the cars, you know, has been a little bit harder to hit. So the steering was a little bit heavy for Atlanta. And then the loads itself of the race, just that many laps kind of wore my body. So I felt like I lost a little bit in that 2-3 week span that I wasn't able to really work out. And so I don't even really know where I'm at right now. All I know is I can say this week kind of getting back to normal. Didn't have any problems, you know, at Atlanta. And I was finally not like slammed on my schedule, and found no, I'm not, but thanks. I found that, I'm really sore right now, but I'd rather be sore than, you know, tired or, you know, not feeling good about my body or where it's at going into Dakota.
Are you
it's like, you know, it's funny you're talking about squats. I mean, the brakes in these cars are not, there's no ABS. You got to push on these brake pedals really hard. There's no power assist of any kind. So you got to, you know, the harder you push the brake pedal, the better it stops. So you got to have some explosive power in your left leg for sure.
Well, that's one thing I always got sick of with the old cars, or last couple of years cars, is the 550. Was these cars are too easy to drive. How many times we saw a car get loose and it didn't even step out, and everybody talking about like, I think a fan could drive these cars, but it's like, I'm glad to finally see, like, hearing you talk about having to manhandle it, being hard to steer. You got to put the foot on the brake. Are you specifically training just to be a fit driver? Or are you training to be a fit dad? Or what's the end goal here with Tyler Reddick's training regimen?
It's kind of open-ended, kind of doing it for myself. A little bit more so these days than necessarily to help, I guess, specifically where the car's at right now. You know, there was a time probably a year ago where before they made a lot of the cooling changes they did to this car, that it was going to be 20 degrees hotter than the old car. And I already thought the old car was hot. So I kind of told myself when I knew this car was coming that I needed to take my fitness to the next step and be ready for this new car. And then all of a sudden they realized the cars were too hot, and they made a lot of changes, which I think is a good thing across the board, because I don't think drivers need to be sitting in 160 degrees and baking themselves almost. Yeah. So now the cars are really cool, but now that because they are, how else can I, can I take my strengths or my edge that I have and maybe change some changes in the car, make the steering stiffer, have a better feel for the steering wheel, change some things like that. So I've been able to still feel like the gains that I'm trying to make in the gym help, still trying to make them beneficial towards racing.
I hear you, dog. I hear you. I work out just because I want to be a fit dad for my daughter. I don't want to be that fat beer belly dad. I want to be a cool big dad. So one day when she has boyfriends, I can be like, hey, but man, you understand. I don't have a cool job where I just drive race cars. But I'm trying to keep up with the comments. Everybody's asking about when we were talking about road course racing. We had one guy ask. We had Nathan Green here ask if you ever raced at St. Louis. Wanting to know if you've ever raced there.
I'm guessing we're talking about Gateway, right? I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I did the two I ran. I had 3 years in the truck series, 2 full-time years. So I think I ran. So I'm pretty sure I ran there twice.
Was that with BK Racing?
Burger King. Brad Keselowski Racing. I about said Burger King. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Yeah, with Brad Keselowski Racing. And both times we were there. Gateway's, track where braking's important. You don't really have it's not really an oval. It's not a straightforward oval, if you will. I mean, you have to approach it almost like a road course a little bit in how you brake and everything. And so I was surprised when we did have speed there in the trucks. I've changed a lot as a driver since my days of running the truck series there. So I'm really excited to see how we run there when we get there in a cup car.
We need to bring that long hair back.
I don't know.
The long hair and the beard.
I just got my hair cut.
I've always wondered,
yesterday.
all y'all get y'all's hair cut before Daytona and all that. Is it a professional team wants me to get a haircut, or are you just trying to be clean cut for pictures? Because I've always felt that we need a bad boy in racing. We need the guy with the long hair. We need a guy with the beard. We need a guy flicking cigarettes on pit road and doing God knows what. I remember seeing those pictures of you with the long hair. I was like, dude, Reddick, he's that guy. But are you clean cut for the team or clean cut for the sponsors?
I'm clean. I guess I'm just clean cut right now for me. I did have a beard for a little while.
Don't listen to me.
I don't know. I got tired of it, so I got rid of it. I've been trying to grow my hair out. It used to be a little bit shorter on the sides, like I said yesterday.
You gotta go through that awkward
my hair
stage.
Was really, really long. Yeah, there's an awkward stage for sure. I need to time it to where I go through that really awkward phase of the in between on the length of hair in the off season, but it just hasn't happened yet. I've wanted to grow it out pretty long.
Do it, man. Do it. I guarantee you gain followers.
It takes commitment. It takes some commitment. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's a progress, man. We don't have. I mean, Corey's kind of doing it. I'm just waiting. I know he's going to cut it soon. Corey's doing it, but it's we need more long haired drivers. We need rock band NASCAR drivers. And I mean, you're the one you're the wheel man. You're riding the high line. I think you're the guy to do it. You should do it.
Yeah, I love if it could show up tomorrow, I would have it. I wouldn't get rid of it. But
what's Alexa think of it? She like your hair long or short?
I think when we started dating, I'd cut it off. Not because of her, but I'd cut it off a year or two before we started dating. Yeah. So I don't know if she ever got to really experience the long hair or know what that was like. I remember what it was like when I was dirt racing. It drove me crazy because I'd have to shower every single night because my hair was outside the helmet, flowing, getting dirt, mud, all sorts of stuff in it. So every time, the race would be over, whatever day it was, I'd have to go take a shower, and then I'm tired and I go lay on it, and then my hair looks like crap.
Washing long hair is the worst.
Again.
Washing long hair is the worst.
Yeah,
it's dry. It takes an hour to dry and everything, but still, we need a long hair driver. Everybody's talking about damn tracks still. But we got Dalton Good in the comments. He was the kid. This is also the kid. I don't know if you saw all over Twitter that was saying GFD during the Daytona 500 and was blowing up when Kyle Busch wrecked. But so what's up, Red Dog? How do you think the Bristol Dirt Race will be at night versus in the day last year?
Well, it definitely won't be as dusty. That's for sure. I don't know what they're wanting to do with the track prep. It sounds like the banking has changed a little bit. It's a little bit more progressive, like you see at Eldora, Fairbury. A lot of dirt tracks have some sort of progressive banking to it. For me, that's huge because the way how dry it was and the way the banking was just kind of same angle from top to bottom. in these heavy cars that we run, on the tire that we do, we don't run as big of a tire as late models do or the sprint cars do. So we don't, and we weigh a lot more. The cars do.
Yeah.
So, the shortest way around the racetrack when it got that slick was going to be the fastest. So I'm really hopeful that this progressive banking kind of, if it does clean up and get nice and slick and get really black, that, it'll widen out to where they're running somewhere in the middle. I mean, I would love it for it to get all the way to the top if it was me personally, but as long as it widens out some degree where guys are making the very bottom work, some guys are making the middle work, that'd be ideal. And the nighttime's only going to help that. And two, in the nighttime in humid Tennessee, if it's got a little bit of moisture to it when we start the race, there's a good chance that if the humidity picks up as the night's cooling off, that the moisture is going to come back in the track and it'll be a little bit muddy the whole race, hopefully.
Is Bristol dirt race a real dirt track? It's okay. No one is going to.
I honestly would say yes, because I got to go there when they're running the late model races. They had all those divisions that were there racing the 2 weeks before we came to town.
I think those are starting right now.
It probably is.
Yeah.
And that was amazing racing. The track was incredible. I had a lot of moisture in it. Cars were hooked up, moving around. The crazy part about it is there wasn't any dust. Me and my crew chief Randall Burnett drove up there one night.
That's so cool. I love hearing y'all just we're hanging out like normal dudes.
We came from dirt racing.
Dudes.
He's from the St. Louis area. I spent 6 years in DuQuoin, about an hour away from there, a little more than that. And the track was great. Had plenty of grip. There was no dust. I was really impressed with it. So when we had a race this last year and we ran the day and it was as dusty as it was, I was obviously pretty disappointed in how the track turned out, but really glad to see the change. And I hope with it being at night that it delivers from the dirt racer in me really wants it to be a true dirt race and not be rubbered up, chewing up tires. And
right. It seemed like last year we just all of a sudden saw like all the guys running the bottom. It was kind of blue grooving down there, and it's like all the dirt racers were in the back and all these Ovo dudes were showing up. It was like, what the hell?
It honestly turned into a more of an asphalt late model short track race, because you had to kind of drive at 80% to keep the tires from blowing out because they were so soft. It started to lay rubber, and you would just peel the rubber off the tires. And then you'd be on a slick. And then once you're on a slick, you couldn't really get off the bottom of the racetrack and move around because, you didn't have the grooves in the tire to expel the dirt. So, I'm really glad to see the tires harder. I'm glad to see the change of track. The Bristol dirt race, the Bristol dirt track is a dirt track. And I just hope that, we are able to put on a good show with a little bit different conditions this year.
How do you think the next gen's going to fare with that? Like we saw last year's work, dude.
I don't know.
I was wondering that too. Yeah, I was wondering that too. Yeah, it worked with that old car, but how are these? How do you test for that?
You can't.
iRacing,
that's the thing. Yeah, and iRacing was a little bit different than the real thing. I don't know. These cars are still heavy. The tire that we got is going to be harder. I don't know if it's much wider than the tire that we ran there last year on the old car. So there's a lot of
the 18-inch
dirt. A lot of what ifs. Yeah, an 18-inch dirt tire. That's just different in itself, right there. I mean, I'm hopeful, but I don't know what it's going to do.
I had a couple personal questions here from me personally. What kind of mood does Tyler Reddick get in before the race starts? Are you just kind of hanging out with Alexa and Bo, chilling? Do you have a little ritual? Do you get pumped up, listen to some tunes? Like, what's Tyler Reddick do to I'm about to get in this race car and drive?
Well, normally, I get to spend a little bit of time when I first wake up in the morning with Bo and Alexa, but most race days are pretty slam full of things on the schedule, if you will.
Right.
Meet and greets, appearances, whatever it might be. Pretty much 3-4 hours before the race starts, it's like nonstop, got places to go, things to do. So just
never mind about to race 500 miles.
Yeah. So you're trying to hydrate when you can, eat 2 hours before. And more things are changing in the schedule. They got the 1948 now. I don't even know why they call it with that, but it's replaced the driver's meeting. It's like VIP meet and greet thing. I don't even know what to really call it, but they call it 1948.
Oh, like, almost like some cliche shit of like NASCAR started in 1948 and now this is like a thing. Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't heard
It's
anything about
something
drivers meetings
like
this year.
that. Yeah, it's an interesting. I don't even know what to call it. It's like a driver's meeting, but it's not. You know, you have all the guests and everything that you would in a driver's meeting, but everyone's kind of standing around. So
Oh,
that's been
weird.
different, but it changed how you prepared and when you got ready for the race, because driver's meetings used to be, I don't know, 3 hours or so before the race, and now we got this right before we go to intros, right before we do the parade lap and all that stuff. So it's changed up the schedule a little bit and how I prepare, but not very structured. Obviously, it kind of depends on how much I got going on that day.
Are you kind of the guy that's like, oh God, this is where all the fans are, I'm gonna say hey, or are you like, I know a shortcut and go around, or are you like, hey, high
I
five,
think
what's
you know
up?
that. I think you know the answer to that.
Because I've noticed some drivers, you know which drivers will like come by and say hey and go through the autograph lines, and some drivers you won't ever see.
Well, it's a tough thing because we have to be on the stage by a certain time or we're
Right?
starting last. And then too, as I talked about, I have so many things going on during the day
Yeah.
that there's some days I may not be able to get through or get to where I need to go, or, I'll be behind, or there might be some days I only have about 5 minutes between when I hit the red carpet or whatever they want to call it,
Yeah.
where all the fans are lined up. I may only have 5 minutes to sign stuff. So a lot of times so far this year, I found myself halfway down or a quarter of the way down, signing every autograph I can for people, and then getting tapped on the shoulder like, we got to be on the stage like in 2 minutes, and it's like, oh boy, because and then I gotta, I don't know what to do. I feel bad. There's kids with cars or
Yeah.
hats and stuff, and I want to stop and sign. If I sign one and not for the other,
Yeah, right.
it's you can't.
It's a double-edged
kind of get in
sword.
trouble. So whenever it gets to that time, I try and just give everyone a high five or a fist bump. Like, it's been great that there's been so many fans at the racetrack, but it's definitely caught me off guard. I'm trying to get to everybody, and I can. And I've found at the start of this year, I can't get to everyone between where I got to be.
Fans
That
are getting more packed though. That's a good thing.
Intros, yeah, certainly is.
Yeah, I've noticed. I've heard my friends and stuff or other fans talk about like, oh, this driver's a dick or he's a butthole and stuff. And it's like, do y'all realize they've probably signed like 1,500 autographs this weekend? They've had cameras in their face all weekend. People come running up to them, throwing them cars and signs to sign. At some point, they're probably like, hey, piss off, or like, just leave me alone for a minute or something. Is like, I have to be somewhere. I have a job to do. It's like, I'm not here to sign your autograph. I'm here to race a car. To some extent, you got to be like, hey, I did all I could.
Well, I always try to do all I can, but certainly, I mean, without fans at the racetrack, we ain't got a race put on. I mean,
right? So, that's a very good point.
You try and take as much time that your schedule allowed to get to as many people as you can. I certainly try to, but it is tough whenever you do get to that time crunch, and it's time you gotta, when it gets to that time where you physically can't stop and say, hey, do this, do that, or you're going to be going to the back. But it's unfortunately something I ran into, and, I'll continue trying to find ways where I can somehow get to where I need to go earlier so I can, spend more time getting to everybody.
Hey, we appreciate you, man. I had a question too, is like, what music does Tyler Reddick listen to? I want, like, personally, what music are you going to the gym pumping up? Are you cruising in your Camaro driving? Like, what does Tyler listen to?
I listen to a lot of different things. I'll kind of go through phases. I hate to even call it phases, but just, there'll be some points in the year where I only will listen to, rock or metal. I haven't looped back around to only listen to hip hop for a while. There'd be times, 6-month trends where I just listen to nothing but hip hop, but then I feel like when summer starts to come around and the beer gets colder and the sun gets warmer,
it's lake season, baby,
country music starts to come back in. So it just kind of moves around. Right now I'm listening to a lot of, rock and metal right now. I think the song that probably gets me the most pumped up right now, I haven't actually listened to in a while. But just talking about this has got me thinking about it. When I go to Dakota, I'm going to definitely play it before I go on the track for practice. And the band's Crystal Lake. The song is Apollo.
Okay.
It almost skipped my mind there.
Crystal Lake
Not
Apollo. Go to YouTube after the show.
I don't know. I think they have a somewhat of a following, but they're not. They're not a.
Hey, respect it. That's
They're
a
not.
metal band?
I'd say they are. Yeah, I feel like they are.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I mean, they're not Metallica or anything. They're not that big, but they're known. I'd say by some.
Duly noted. Yeah, I was always wondering, I always wonder, what drivers listen to? Or are they just like, I don't care. Like, I just imagine if I was getting in a race car about to race, I'm like, I gotta get in the zone. Like, mentally, I'm getting pumped up. Like, let's go do this. But then also, it's like, it's the long game, not the short game.
That's what I've found. I used to get too zoned in, like too in the moment, like, all right, let's go. Well, slap one of 400, chill. And I used to in my truck days, like get pumped up like it's the last restart of the race and it's the initial start of the race.
Hey, y'all play me a song on my radio at halfway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I used to catch myself doing it a lot more when I was younger, but it's very common it used to be very common in my head to just have songs pop in and just kind of be playing in my head as I'm driving along. They used to happen a lot, actually. I've gotten a little bit better about concentrating on the road ahead of me when I'm on the racetrack now. That doesn't happen as much. But when I was younger, it's certainly what happened to me.
Heck yeah. We saw the Brad K news come out today with them just laying down a thigh slapper of a fine. Everybody's wanting to know, like, what is your thoughts on heavy penalties? Do you think it was too much? Do you think, like, I mean, kind of got to do something here. Everybody's going to do it. What do you think about all these hard penalties and NASCAR actually backing up their word?
Yeah. The thing is, I don't even know. I saw what the penalty was and what type of infraction it was, but I didn't see anywhere what part was the infraction.
I didn't really either. I saw something that said like body panel, but I was also reading Twitter. Don't know how much you can trust there. Something about adjusted body panel. It might have been something. It was in the rear end, I think. But yeah, I don't know. NASCAR said at the beginning of the year, like, hey, we're not BSing around anymore. We're going to be serious this year. And this is kind of the first real one you've seen where you're like, holy crap, they're not messing around.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's my understanding, though, like it could have been 10 to 25 playoff points. So I think he got away kind of lucky there. There's a pretty big margin that it can be between on the penalty side of things. Now, on the points penalty, 100 points is huge. You go from being, I think he was right behind me in points to, he lost 19 positions in the driver's standings. And then there's, if he makes the playoffs, which it's Brad, I imagine he does, instead of starting at, if you enter it with 0 playoff points, now you're at -10. That's even harsh. That's a tough thing to, 5, 10 playoff points are huge. Now you got negative playoff points. That's even worse.
I saw a thing, or I think it was Bob Hawkers posted that if he were just to win one race and get top 30 in points and make the playoffs, he would start at -5 points.
Yeah.
Like that sucks.
Yeah. I mean, with this new car, they made it pretty. They were very upfront with us on how things were going to be. This car kind of being a spec piece. You buy this part from this vendor and that vendor. They're very upfront with us from day 0 that this is how it's going to be. Like, we're not messing around on this. If they don't make the fines, stiff enough, then people are going to feel like they're going to be able to get away with it. They might be able to get away with it a couple races, win some races, not get caught, and it'll outweigh, when they finally do. But so I think that's why the penalties are so severe. And I hate to say it too, but, unfortunately for Brad, the first one they really nail on it, they're going to make an example out of him. And they certainly did. I
thought about that. I was at work. I saw it at lunch break, and then I thought about it. I was like, wow, that's pretty damn hardcore. If that right there is like, hey, yo, we can't afford to make that or to bend these rules. We can't afford to, or, get that kind of penalty. That's going to hurt us. Is like, yeah, that just was like a writing on the wall. Like, they hung Brad before the town. Like, don't mess around.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's maybe why a lot of the bigger teams were so aggressive in a number of the years past with certain things in the rules, because, the big teams could afford to have, a fine here or there. You wouldn't really see a lot of point penalties, but you'd see fines. And so a lot of the big teams could kind of get away with that. And the smaller teams, couldn't really take those risks to push those those, gray areas. And so making it really stiff is important because a lot of small teams aren't even thinking about doing any of that because, a fine like that can just completely change the trajectory of your year. Certainly $100,000 is a lot of money to a lot of people. But thankfully for a lot of the cup teams, I'd say right now it won't, put them in jeopardy of missing a race financially or anything like that. But yeah, they definitely set the standard. This is how it's going to be. I in the meetings that I was a part of when they were talking about this, I know they were serious about it. And
yeah,
I mean, I feel like the people that I know at RFK know that too. So I don't know if there was a misunderstanding or what exactly happened. I don't know a lot about it other than the penalty itself.
I got you. It's already like they're messing with the wheels. Now they're messing with this. Like, hey, and then I feel like they also paint like a target on themselves. Like maybe like, hey, look, y'all been testing the waters. Chill the hell out. I got 2 more questions for you, Tyler. One I always ask is like I just want to hear your personal input is what does it feel to sail it off into turn 1 at Darlington? What is the feeling when you're in the car and you're like just holding the wheel, balls to the wall, just diving in there like I hope it sticks?
It's pretty nuts. There's no corner like it. You like drive off into the corner like you're not even entering a corner. I don't even really know how to explain it. I mean, you're almost just trying to like you go in there with the intention of teeing up and just nailing the outside wall. And as you gain banking, you gain grip, and next thing you know, the car grips up right before you get to the wall and you don't hit it. It's a pretty rowdy sensation. And it's only gotten crazier now with the unfortunate repaving of the apex of turn 1 and 2 to the exit of 2.
Right. Isn't that just weird? Like,
grip,
hey, you're gonna have 2 different surfaces
all
on this track.
Oh my gosh. Go from no grip at all. You land in that new grip, and it's just like it feels like you jumped off of Atlanta and landed on you jump from the old racing surface of Atlanta to the new surface of Atlanta. It made it even crazier. But yeah, turn 1 Darlington's pretty much one of a kind. One of the most difficult corners to just hit right because you drive off in there, and 9 times out of 10 you feel like you're in too easy or in too deep. You're going to go kill the wall, and then all of a sudden it grips up right before you get there, and you're like, all right, we'll have to do that 367 more times. Yeah.
Oh man. All right, another one I had was at what point in your career as a professional driver were you like, holy crap, I made it? Like, was it Daytona 500, walking out to all the fans? Was it, a first Xfinity win? What point were you like, I did it? Like, I did it, Ma. I made it.
Well, I don't feel like I've truly made, had my career making moment yet, but like certainly.
I feel like your career is way cooler than mine.
Well, I mean, this is. You definitely have a lot of fun doing this. So, I mean, this can't be too bad. Cheers to that.
That's right.
But I think that first Daytona 500 was a pretty surreal moment. Like, this is something I've been trying to get to my whole life. And then here I am finally doing it in front of, almost, I think it was actually a sold out crowd. It was a pretty surreal moment. I feel like it's still sinking in as we speak, even right now. In years past, it's still kind of sinking in. Like, I'm here. This is crazy. I'm doing this, but it's kind of, I'm trying to absorb it as best as I can. But I get so as a competitor, I should be so caught up in this week and next week and what I got in front of me and the work I got to do. So when we get to the racetrack, we're good. It's easy to kind of get the blinders on and lose focus of how cool a thing you're in. But I mean, I want to do good for my team. I want to go out there and win that first race. I want to go out there and run good every week. So that's where that drive and where I kind of get lost in what I'm doing.
I would say, does it like get into like a kind of like a constant thing or just repetition, and you're just like complacent and like, oh yeah, or you ever like take a step back and like, dude, I'm doing this. I'm driving cars every week. This is like what I wanted to always do. Like, you gotta almost have like a reality check with yourself. Yeah,
I would say I did my rookie year, and it wasn't even really. It was it ended up being a good reality check, but I kind of found myself pretty early on in my rookie year, just kind of not where my confidence, not where it needed to be. We weren't running great. We had good moments, but we could never like close the races out. We had a lot of things going on, and I kind of really got down and caught up and just the you know, the low and the roller coaster of the year that we had. And thankfully, you know, taking that step back and realizing this is like what I've been trying to do my whole life. I'm here, made this far, and get out of this hole. So that reflection did help in some of those tough moments, certainly in the first year and a half of racing in the Cup Series.
Dude, man, awesome insight. I'm so glad you jumped in with us. It's awesome to hear all your opinions, views. I know I kind of beat around the bush and got all around different topics, but I appreciate you jumping on the show, Chairgatin. I can't wait to see you at the next race we're at, and I can't wait to see you get that win this year. Probably going to get more than one. That's what I'm rooting for. But is there anyone you want to plug? I think we probably all follow you if you're watching this show, but shout out 3Chi RCR. What you got?
Yeah, certainly 3Chi and RCR. They're huge. You know, Richard gave me my opportunity to go Cup racing, go Xfinity racing. 3Chi for making a lot of the good things that are coming our way this year happen, being such a great partner, coming on board the way that they are. I'm excited to go see a lot of them at Austin. You know, they're going to have a display at the racetrack. I'm going to go out there and spend some time there, hopefully sign some autographs to some of the people that are buying product. But I can't believe it's already been an hour. I feel like I've only been sitting here 30 minutes. I was like, no way.
I mean, I can keep going. I'm just trying not to take up your whole night.
I still have some beer left, so
I can grab another one. I can keep this going. I'm trying to be polite here. I mean, the comments are popping off.
Yeah. I mean, Cheddar's has been a part of it for
dude. Shout out Cheddar's.
A number of years. Alsco, back to Xfinity days as well. Lenovo. I'm doing this on my Lenovo ThinkPad. They set me up with a really, really nice laptop. Much appreciated. I clearly don't look at the clock on it yet. I need to start doing that. I need to start wearing my watch again. That would help me out. You know, there's a lot of great people that are part of it that help make it happen. They're a partner in a way too. You know, Team Chevrolet does a lot. They give me a lot of opportunities to get in the simulator, get our team in the simulator, work on our setup, work on my driving techniques, making laps the only way that we can before we get there on the race weekends. I could go on and on. There's a lot of people that are a part of this that make this possible. Can't do it without him. And I'm hearing Bo. So
yeah,
I guess Bo knows the clock better than I do.
Perfect timing, man.
I told him 6:30, 7:30, and I guess he looked and he sees 7:36. He's like,
Dad life always calling. Oh man, we appreciate it, man. We can't wait to see you get those wins. Can't wait to see you get that hair grown back out. You're gonna be the rock star in pit road. We're all gonna be rooting for you. We're gonna high five you and get them autographs. Man, it was awesome talking to you. Hopefully we can finish these beers after the show. Don't run, but everybody, that was Tyler Reddick on Chairgatin. Check us out, weekly episodes. We're gonna be dropping it. Tyler's the man, y'all. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, cheers, and hey, don't forget to get your picks in on BetMGM as well.
Oh wow, with the late plug, BetMGM.
Yeah.
That's a sexy scheme too. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, it is.
That's
really
a good looking. You're driving the good looking cars. RCR. We're back, baby. Well, let's go racing.
Sounds good.
Cheers, boys.
There you go. Now it's not fading out.
Hell yeah.